Our first item is our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a protocol?
Mr. Vice Chair, could you please read our mission statement?
Marshall Public Schools develops the potential of each learner for success in a changing world.
Thank you. Moving on to our approval of our agenda, do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Do we have any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Tiger Spotlight.
We're fortunate to have representatives from 3 of our activities or athletic teams that were able to attend this afternoon's school board meeting, and we'd like to recognize the football team, the boys cross country, 1 runner plus the team, and also the girls cross country team. So Coach Ballman, would you mind introducing your young men that you have with you and maybe talking a little bit about your season, and we appreciate that.
With about 80 guys on the team, it was hard to bring them all and fit them in here. So we had 6 senior representatives tonight: PJ Bach, Max Grossman, Joe Sullivan, Nancy Nielsen, Matt Thompson, and Shane Greenstead. This group, we won 9 football games this year and made the state tournament for the first time since 1991. To me, 1991 doesn't seem that long ago. So we start talking, and 3 of our coaches weren't even born yet. So start thinking about it a little bit. So they did a great job. Of course, the highlight game for us was the Hutchinson game. They said we had over 3,700 people at the game. We've been close to making the state a couple times. And last 0.5 seconds, I think we did Marshall history and get better as we go. These guys did a great job representing us.
Awesome. So congratulations, and Jeff Chapman would like to have all of you come up front, and we'll get a picture with the Tiger Spotlight certificate for football.
But the staging area would be here, which would be Jeff. We could, yeah.
Take out a tile.
That's really bad. Yeah, it's bad to get you on the right.
And Karen's going to introduce or talk a little bit about the boys and girls cross-country teams.
Well, I wasn't going to talk about them, but I can introduce them. So for girls, we've got Jackie Turner, Madison Radel, Morgan Radel, Nicole Sample, Sydney Boomey, and Laura Bowen. And the girls took 2nd at state. They were first for our section. They had an amazing year. It was a lot of fun to watch them run, and they ran tight like a team. I mean, they exemplified what cross country is, running together. And then this last weekend, not as a school team, but as a club team, they ran at the Nike Regionals and placed 5th, that's the best of the best. So that was very good.
Congratulations, ladies. And Mr. Chapman will meet you up front.
Certificate would have.
Yes, thank you for coming.
All get tight right here. It's all in there?
One more.
Congratulations, ladies.
Some of us can clap anyway.
And last but not least, we have Chase Van Coolen here from the boys cross-country team who qualified for the state meet. And Chase, you might have to help me a little bit, but 76, that's what I thought, which was kind of right in where you wanted to be, hoped to be, had a goal to be. And so that's exciting as well. Congratulations on that. I know your boys team also had a successful season, and so on behalf of the school board and the school district, congratulations on your season and making it to the state cross-country meet, Chase.
Maybe Karen can present it.
Make sure and go straight home now, Chase.
Now, it's time for the public forum. Is anybody in the public that would like to approach the board? Now is your time. Our first presentation is one-on-one technology. Amanda.
And team.
And team.
Brought some students and parents with as well today, so yeah. So we are just going to give you an update on how our one-to-one is going in year 2. But at first, I would like to start by just introducing the technology staff again. We do have 2 new faces to our group, so I'll start. I'm Amanda Gridagger, and I am the Director of Teaching and Learning, and I oversee the technology department.
Todd Bigthorn, District Network Services Coordinator.
Aya Johnson, Parkside and West Side Media Specialist, and Tech High School Animal Media Specialist.
I'm Nick Esbeck, I'm the District Computer Technician.
Karen Lundgren, District Technology Integration Specialist.
Tammy Dulas, I'm here as a Missing was Kent Powell, another District Technician.
So I just wanted to start by going over our roles that we feel we have as a technology team in this process. And I just want to point out that all of these things have to do with support. Either supporting the students, supporting the teachers, supporting parents who are also trying to help their kids with this transition. So starting with the process and procedures. This is one of the big things that we spent a lot of time working on last year, or actually the year before we did the first year of the rollout. We wanted to make sure that we had processes and procedures in place on how to deal with different things that came up when a student has a device. And we just can't hand a student a device and expect that everything's going to go well, and there's a lot of things that go along with this rollout. So on our website, if you want to take a closer look at the Digital Learning Handbook, you can go to our website, go to the departments, and then click on Technology and Digital Learning, and you can find that
there. So this is one of the things that we put together, and I've listed some of the things that we cover in here, but those are just a few of the items. And I think one of the biggest issues that we have to deal with on a pretty regular basis is how do we handle it when a student accidentally breaks a device, or what if their device gets lost? And so those are difficult things to deal with for the teacher and the student, because these things have become so important in their day-to-day functions. So we have that all spelled out in our handbook. So if you want to look at in more detail, you can find it there. And then the other big thing too is that protection plan, just making sure the parents are aware that they can purchase some protection plan through the district, and it's at a very reasonable cost so that it protects a variety of things that can happen to their device. And when we put this together, we made sure that we got input from staff and administrators at each building, so they felt like they could follow the procedures that went along with this. Because again, this is something they have to deal with on a pretty regular basis. And then we do update it annually, because our first year, we put together what we thought would be a solid plan. And then as the year goes on, you identify things that we can improve on, things that maybe aren't working. So it was updated last May, and so we have an updated copy for this year. So again, this is one of the areas that the team spends quite a bit of time on.
We as a technology committee group meet twice a month to be proactive and to talk over concerns and refine some practices. Every time we do this, we learn a little bit more, but improve upon this thing. So those meetings help with that process quite a bit. We are on year 2 of our rollout. Students in grades 1, 2, 5, 6, and 9 through 12 have devices. This fall we prepared at the high school 880 devices. Middle school 333, Parkside 389, and at Maytech 50, for a grand total of 1,652 devices. This does not include any of the staff machines or lab upgrades, or the fact that we upgrade a lot of other machines to Windows 8.1 for consistency. So we work with a lot of different communities this summer. All students in grades 5 and 9 through 12 have the Lenovo ThinkPad, which is this device that folds all the way over, lets you use it as a tablet or as a notebook. Grade 6 is missing, and then we'll talk about that a little bit later. Our Schoology Enterprise is used as our learning management system at the middle school and high school. Karen will be talking more about that a little bit later. One of the projects that we worked hard on this summer was to move towards a single login, so that students have the same username and password for logging into their computer, logging into their email, logging into their Schoology account. Integrating all those together was a project that I worked on to try to make it simple, so that we can get into all those resources without too many questions.
Anytime you implement something this large, and if you are wondering, did it matter that we had 8 grades to roll out this fall versus the 4 from the first year? Yeah, it was a big difference. It was a lot more devices, and it took a lot more time on everybody's part. So we're already starting to think about what that looks like next year when we're rolling out to all grades. So, I mean, even if they had them the year before, we collected them, and we've got to give them back. So it is a process, and it's something that we continue to improve upon. But anytime you do something this big, there are going to be some bumps in the road. So we're just going to talk about a couple of those. Or actually, no, this is it. There are no other bumps. These are the ones. But our grade 5 device last year, we had an HP device. It was an HP Elite Pad. And by the end of the year, we had sent back about 2/3 of them for one reason or another. So we were very concerned about how well is this product going to last for another 3 years. So Todd and I met with the HP reps, and we went over our concerns and talked about the statistics that we had to support our concern. And we were very fortunate that they took those back, and they provided our 6th grade students this year then with an HP ProBook 11. It's very similar to this device, and we've been very pleased with that device. So it was a bump in the road, but we did get it resolved. And we were very appreciative to HP for their flexibility. But again, we feel like we provided them with some feedback on some ways they could make improvements to the device too. So we feel it was a fair exchange. The second one was the high school math curriculum. This was our first year of rolling out some curriculum that had an interactive workbook, textbook for the students. And I was really, really wanting this to go well. But it was very early on at the beginning of the year that the teachers started contacting Todd, Karen, myself, Brian, with concerns they were having about the product. And Karen and Todd and Kent and Nick spent a lot of time making sure that it wasn't issues on our end, providing them feedback and helping them work through some things that were on our end. And as the days and weeks wore on, we could tell that this product wasn't what we had hoped it would be. So we have met with 3 representatives from the company, and they were, when we showed them what was happening on our end, they were really embarrassed and basically said that they were embarrassed by the product. And so we are currently in negotiations with that company to try to find some resolution. We would like our money back, and they have some other ideas. So we're negotiating, and we're hoping to come to a resolution soon, but it doesn't seem like anything moves quick enough or as quickly as we would like it to. So that is a big deal, but I think we've also learned from that experience, and we'll use that knowledge as we move forward.
So we talked about iPad issues. Let me start out by saying that iPads are an amazing device. They're capable of doing wonderful things, but they were designed as a personal device. And, if you use one individually, they work great. If you're managing everything, but if you're in charge of managing 400 of them, simple things like iOS updates, app changes, personalization, all that stuff gets complicated. We use a program called AirWatch that helps us with that process, and that does work well. But we still find that there's certain things that we have to go out and touch most of the devices to complete some sort of process. So that's been a bit of a challenge, getting them all updated to iOS 9. It came out in September, 2 weeks after we had rolled them all out, and there was no way to automatically send it out. We had to pay attention to it.
And that is frustrating for our K-1-2 teachers when that happens, but we do the best we can and as quickly as we can. West Side device. This really isn't a bump in the road, but it is something we wanted to bring to your attention that last spring, Jeremy Williams approached Todd and I and asked, is there any way that we could change the plan for our rollout to be to a non-iPad device, to what the 5 through 8 are using, instead of the iPad? And so we got feedback from their teachers to make sure that this was the feeling from the whole staff. But first, let me back up. We did talk to Bruce Lamprecht first. We wanted to make sure that that would be fiscally possible. And bless his heart, he said whatever is in the best interest of the students is what we should do. So then we worked with the staff and received their feedback. And the majority of them would like to move to that, a similar model to whatever the 5 through 8 are using. And they had a variety of reasons for that. And one of them is creation of content, and being able to do Word documents, Excel, PowerPoints. And I know that those things are all possible on iPad in a different version, but this is what they're going to be using as they move into the 5.8. We're also able to use them for testing. We'd also like them to be able to use them for keyboarding, which is not possible with the iPad. So that is the direction that we would like to move with our West Side staff. We would have to do a little tweaking with how that rotation goes, because we had the 4-year rotation, and what we think that would look like is the device would be at West Side for 4 years. We could either keep it in the same classroom for 4 years, or it could follow the student 3, 4, and then move back and do 3, 4 to get the 4-year cycle out of them. And it would be similar at Parkside as well with the iPads. They would follow the student 1, 2, and then roll back and do another 1, 2. So we're hoping that we could get your blessing on that, and that you would agree that that was the right way to go. Or if you have any questions, that maybe we could answer them.
Then network security is something that we need to continually keep on top of. There are occasionally security concerns that arise where we have needed to adjust our planning and focus on keeping the network safe and reliable. We're striving towards best practices on this, and I know we'll be needing to make some changes coming up, but this is always a challenge for a large network these days. Keeping up with all the things that come about.
Todd touched just briefly on Schoology earlier, and I was just going to give you a little bit more of an update on what Schoology is. Schoology is our current learning management system, which allows for the storage of digital content for our teachers and allows them to deliver that to the students in a digital format. So moving to that Schoology platform, last summer we had 2 half-day trainings from Schoology trainers for several of our middle school, high school, and Maytech staff. Additional trainings on the Schoology platform continue now throughout the school year. We're working in small groups of teachers on implementation, and that will be a continual process as we move to more to the digital platform. Also, we just learned that Schoology was recently awarded the Editor's Choice Award in PC Magazine as a leading learning management system. So it's a nice system.
So have all the staff had at least one training on it?
If they haven't, like 3rd and 4th grade, they would have had it.
Because they're not really using it.
Right, and we rolled it out with as the grades receive devices.
So every grade that has a device, all the staff at that grade level has had at least one.
Training, or we're in the process of providing.
Yeah, Vera's not here and she would have done all that training for this to Karen, so I can't say with 100% everyone received it, but that was the goal. So the majority should have.
In addition to the Schoology training opportunities, back in August during workshop week, there was various technology training opportunities provided throughout the district as well. Staff surveys have been done to gather data from the teachers as far as technology needs. If they feel where's their weak area, where would they like additional training, and help me focus on meeting those needs. We also offer monthly professional development opportunities at middle school, high school, and Maytech in small group sessions, either 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 scenario, which seems to work very, very well. The teaching staff are very happy with that particular style of training. It just seems to be much more effective than large group. And then we also working on scheduling additional trainings in our elementary buildings according to what their needs are. For Parkside, it's integration ideas with iPads, looking at reading and math is the highest requested area on their recent survey. And then West Side as well will be offering professional development as well. Also, there are video tutorials that have been created by myself that are available for students and staff on just key skill areas, just short little tutorials that I provide for them via our Schoology platform. Then in January, we're going to begin offering 3 opportunities or sessions for an online course called Marshall Public Schools Digital Teaching and Learning. It's a 6 to 12 week course for teachers that helps them gain skills and look at what classroom change looks like with a one-to-one device in the home. So that will be starting up in January. And that will be offered to all staff district-wide.
And Karen, the tech integrationist, and myself and Kaya are within all 3 buildings at this point.
or 4 buildings, supplying them with immediate instructional support and new technology support. So if they're having trouble, integrating a software piece or anything else into the classroom, we're there, and we try to coordinate our schedule so that at least one of us is in one of the buildings at all times. So, for instance, on Mondays, I'm here at middle school, and most of the time I'm here, we can be at the high school or something else where she can be. So we're just trying to make sure we overlap so that we get those people. Get these people.
So another one of our roles is that technical support piece. And as Nancy just alluded to, the media staff is really our first line of defense for technical issues. And they do a lot of troubleshooting for our students who don't have access to the boys, I always call them the boys, the men, the tech guys. So I'm working on that. They don't have access to school due tickets. So they would work with the media staff. If the staff can't fix it, then they contact Todd, Nick, or Kent through that school due ticket process. And we appreciate everything they do.
We use a ticketing system for IT support, requests what school do. In reviewing this information this fall, I looked at the time frame from August 1st to October 8th. We did over 610 tickets, which is an average of over 12 a day. And these are just tickets. A lot of the media center staff solve other issues. These are tickets that somebody took the time to generate and put in a ticket for. So this helps us measure, which certain devices or configurations might be a problem. It also keeps us, lets us track this information district-wide so that we know what kind of support we might need in the future for those devices.
I was recently reviewing our staff survey from last year, and I thought it was perfect timing that I found this. But when asked, when needed I am able to receive technology support within a reasonable amount of time, 99.56% of staff are satisfied. And that just talks to what a great job Nick, Kent, and Todd do, and the media staff. So I appreciate everything they do, because if that wasn't happening, we wouldn't see our teachers and students as excited about using the technology, because if you don't have the support when you need it, you're not as likely to use it. And then additional support, we're always trying to be proactive instead of reactive, so we have implemented monthly meetings at the building levels to address issues and concerns. And so that's the building administrator, myself, Todd, and then Karen and the media specialist for that particular building. We meet with teacher reps. It's usually a grade level or content area reps for each building. And that really has resolved a lot of issues quickly before they become big problems.
Karen and I decided, after getting some feedback from students about their support at the media desk, that we would become more visible. So on Tuesdays and Fridays at this time, we're offering an hour of support outside of student services at the high school. So at the desk, we called ourselves the Tiger people. Nick and Kent have joined us. On Friday they joined us, and they're going to join us again. But it really just puts us out there in front of them, and we had one person on Friday, but we're hoping that that'll increase and we'll just be more visible in case they're in the cafeteria sitting there playing with their devices. They can see us right there. They can come to the desk.
And Nick and Kent came out to the high school many days right at the beginning of the school year over lunch to help students as they became familiar with the device, which I think really helped us.
We'll kind of continue that. They drop in every day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. So really, we get those devices back to them. So the students don't have excuses. They get the devices. They actually are getting them as needed.
We do an annual survey to determine satisfaction and needs. Last year we did that in February. From our February student survey, when asked the question, what do you like about having the device? One of the responses, captured what most of them said, and it says it makes everything easier. Another question was, how has having the device changed your learning experiences at school or home? And another response here was less to carry, more organized, and more engaged. Over 94% of students, all students reported, I am more organized because of my device.
Finally, we thought you might like to hear from a parent and some students. I only thought I was getting one student, but I have two, and that's great. So we'll start out with just having them share what it's been like for Tammy. We'll start with her. She's a parent of two high school students. What it's been like for her as a parent to have that device. Her students have that device.
As a parent, I really appreciate it because before the kids had their device, we would line up at the office door. We had one computer and basically call dibs on who had it first. So it's been really nice not to wait in line. A lot of times would go back up to school, and in the winter it's not too comfortable at 8, 9 at night in a dark classroom trying to get your work done. So it's been nice so we can all work at the same time. And the flexibility piece is very nice. We can just each go to a comfy place, work on our work, and if the kids are working on a school project and they're busy with all different types of activities. So if one of them needs to meet with somebody else that maybe they're busy that night, they can do their part on the computer, share it out with the other one, they can do their piece and pull it all together so they don't physically have to get together to do the work. My kids have both been fortunate enough to have the math curriculum that does work. So I have really, really liked that. One's in Algebra 3 and one's in Pre-Calc. And to be able to sit and work through those problems and they don't get it, and it gives them prompts, here's another one, work through this one. And I think it's really helped both of them to move on and really do a nice job with their classes. The organization piece, I definitely agree with. I just think it's been a really good piece of a parent's perspective.
And I don't know if I was clear about that when I was talking about that math curriculum. The courses that gave us trouble were our Algebra 1s, our Geometry, and our Algebra 2. But we did have two other companies at higher level math courses that are working great, that we were hoping these would work similar to. So we know it works, we just have to find a company that works better for us. So, and now we have a student, Natalie Rademacher.
I also brought my friend Monica Timmerman with. She wants to go into computer science next year and has some advantages of that to talk about too, and how the ThinkPads have helped her in that way. One of the biggest advantages of having the ThinkPads as a student is that all the resources we can need are right there. You're no longer trying to get to class with 2 books and a calculator and a planner and trying to juggle it all. Everything's right there. You don't have to forget your book at school when you have homework. The teachers have done a very good job of implementing Schoology into our classrooms. Every student has an account on there, and you're enrolled in all of your classes. And so when you go on the calendar feature, all of your assignments for all of your classes are listed right there. Everything is right there, right at your hands. The teachers have done a good job of putting the weekly assignments on there. If you miss school, you can still submit your assignments online. Everything you could ever need is right there on the ThinkPads. My favorite part about it is that it's very interactive. My government teacher, Mrs. Cole, has done a really good job with this. She's found a way that we can participate in online discussions. We get extra credit if we watch the debates every week, and so you'll be sitting at home in your pajamas with your ThinkPad watching the debate, discussing it with your classmates, talking about who's doing a good job, who has weak points, and she's made it very, very fun. It's nice to be interactive and also at home in your pajamas.
I took Java this year and I'll be taking CIS Computer Science next semester. And at the beginning of the year, they didn't have the program to program computers downloaded yet. So we got to see what it was like to use it without a Lenovo pad. And it was not very fun. You have to have administrative rights to program, so we could only program from 11:30 to 3:30 in one room at the school. And that was kind of difficult if you had stuff going on and you couldn't go and get help from your teacher. But we got it downloaded on the computers, and it's been really nice. You're allowed to do programming if you have free time in class, and you don't have to transfer your files from one computer to the next. It's all on your school computer.
What would you two change if you could change anything about the one-to-one program?
Well, our school's done a good job blocking things so students aren't allowed to go on like Netflix and Twitter and things. There's been a couple complications where if you're writing a paper on, let's say, gun control or things like that, there's been some problems where some of the material you're looking at is blocked because it's got the word gun in it. So there's been some issues there.
So how's the one-on-one working with our new immigrant population?
I think our Yale teachers do a good job of incorporating them in their classrooms. They've actually been using tablets with the Yale students for years now. It's one of the tools that they've been using with them. So I think it's been a pretty smooth transition. Getting the parents to understand the process and that they get to take them home and that kind of thing is a little more difficult with the language barrier, but we do the best we can with our interpreters and getting that information out to parents.
One of the support things that we provide in Karen and I is that we can go to the room. I've been in some of the EL groups, just helping them get logged on, get their email in, and bookmarking, emails, Goji, all those sites and things.
Are there issues with a lot of kids that don't have internet at home?
Funny you should ask. We've been having a lot of conversation about that. When we were looking at the one-to-one originally, and we look at past parent surveys, the surveys indicate that about 98% of our families have Wi-Fi at home. But as we've implemented, we are seeing that that probably is a little bit high. It's probably not accurate. So the first year, the middle school media center anyways has expanded their hours so that students can stay after. If they need to get some assignments done. There's always a cafeteria, and at the high school, if a student's in the building, they have Wi-Fi. But we've also shared places that have open Wi-Fi, like the public library. We're also looking at hotspots that people can check out. They're about $50 a month piece, so one student can have one. So if you're looking at purchasing some, it's something we would need to budget for, and something we hadn't budgeted for. So, but there are programs too that families can sign up if they're low income to get a cheaper or reduced price on Wi-Fi access in their home. So those are things that we've shared and are looking into.
How's your staff? You have enough staff? I know you don't. But I mean,
yeah, I do believe that it will be something that I will be asking for 16-17, because as we add 4 more grades to the mix, it's just a lot of devices to manage. And I'll be.
Well, if you don't ask, you don't receive. So.
I know, and I will ask.
Over and over again, right, Bruce? Over.
And it's not just the 4th grades. It's we have to look at all the devices that we already.
I really think that Todd is probably the one who needs the most help right now. If we were to look at a position, it would be a database manager. So we have so many different programs that we're running, and it all requires management, and exporting things, importing things, writing scripts. Todd would explain it better, but.
So you're looking at getting away from the iPads altogether then?
No, we'll still be using iPads, K1 too.
K1 too. Any estimates on how many of our families or students have taken advantage of the protection plan?
Oh, that is a great question. I have not ran the numbers, but I would say a lot.
So it's going to be hopefully self-sustaining. It should, or do we actually purchase?
No, we are doing it in-house.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping that that's what happens. And right now we're kind of in a period where there's some warranties left, and once those warranties run out, that'll be the true test if we're charging them. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda, I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Financials.
Our bills for the period October-November are as follows. General fund, we have $1,276,646.07. The The Food Service Fund, $192,067.41. Transportation Fund, $156,473.25. Community Services Fund, $310,707.26. Capital Outlay Fund, $128,774.98. Construction Fund, $90,869, and the Student Entrepreneurial Fund, $335.91. That makes a grand total of $2,150,873.88. Mr. Chair, I would recommend approval of the bills for the period October-November.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It's approved. Anything else for the treasurer's report?
No, I don't have anything to share. Anybody have any questions?
Board forum, anybody in the board have anything they'd like to bring up? Administrator's report.
I think we have several administrators' reports. I'll just kind of go through as soon as I get to them. Each of them, a couple highlights. In my report, I included information relative to the building bond referendum, as well as updates on a variety of things that either have happened or will be happening. Parkside report, just an update on the new sections being proposed and organized at first and second grade, as well as information on RTI, which is response to intervention. West Side report, information regarding math curriculum work that's taking place, and also some information about a $2,500 grant from the Southwest Initiative Foundation, which was, I believe, approved as part of the consent agenda. Middle school report, Veterans Day activities last week, and also a variety of music concerts and performances. High school administrators report, update on advanced placement numbers, as well as college in the schools numbers, and also parent-teacher conference, variety of data and information. And Maytech had, her report included new signage at that building, and also some information about the Maytech Honor Roll, which is something that they're trying to emphasize a little bit more. Activities report, fall activities success, many of whom teams and individuals were here this afternoon, and also a summary of the officials' ratings from the Minnesota State High School League about a variety of things related to our fall activities. Amanda's report, Director of Teaching and Learning, had an update on staff development and the committee work, also information about professional learning communities and the direction that they're going, and a grant for, I believe it was $1,000 from Investors Choice, and with that, we're going to be doing a new teacher book study. Mr. Lamprecht, if you want to add anything from your report.
The only thing that I would comment on is the District United Way Drive. It's in full session, so to speak, and we're looking at trying to achieve a goal of $7,125 in giving, along with increasing participation of our staff. Last year, 14-15, we had 18% of our staff that actually participated in giving to the United Way of Southwest Minnesota. We're looking to increase that to 25%. So that's a worthy goal, and hopefully we can achieve it. But other than that, nothing else really to report.
Very good.
Monica?
I'm sorry.
At the high school and middle school, the junior high knowledgeable team has been competing for the last few months, and so far they've placed first at every meet. At the high school, for Veterans Day activities, students wrote letters to veterans, and they were handed out at the American Legion luncheon. We got 300 or 400 letters, and they also did a fundraiser for the Memorial Park Veterans Edition, and they raised $450 for that. Gymnastics, hockey, and basketball seasons have begun. Teacher conferences are being held tonight. BPA attended the state leadership conference a few weeks ago. The girls cross country team plays sections at state, and the school play, Man of La Mancha, is starting this Thursday, and it'll be going all weekend. At the middle school, 7th graders had a courage retreat on November 13th. Link Crew leaders from the high school were helping out with that. They had a band and orchestra concert on November 10th. At Parkside, they had their parent-teacher conferences on November 5th. And at Westside, they had a MIC teacher night on October 28th. The teachers and administrators worked at McDonald's for a fundraiser, and they raised over $400 for the Title I program.
Facilities up
Just 4 things that I would bring up, and certainly the Facilities Committee can chime in if they want to. The Facilities Committee met last week, and primarily the main outcome from the meeting was to determine that the anticipated date for the building bond referendum will be May 10th of 2016, so that will trigger a variety of things as we work backwards from that date that will need to happen over the course of the next several months. We're in the process of trying to schedule a variety of meetings, starting with really an all-staff informational meeting, and make sure that our staff knows what's happening and why. We had a discussion about potentially utilizing some outside consultants to assist with the information and communication efforts in the district leading up to the vote. And there was also discussion of various financing options and some variables that we'll need to make a decision on in the near future, because that information will need to be included in the review and comment that will be submitted to the Department of Education after the first of the new calendar year. So, any members, if you have anything to add, please do so.
So I see they've started groundwork on the affordable housing over at Parkside. That's working pretty good.
Yep, I think they're in the process of putting the footings down, I guess I would call it, the foundation, and some sidewalk work and different things like that. Did they arrive shortly, Bruce, the actual?
The classrooms are scheduled to arrive tomorrow and will be housed at the staff parking lot at the high school until they're ready to be placed. Because of the weather forecast of rain for tonight and tomorrow night and into Wednesday, chances are there won't be any additional work done until probably Thursday by Susner Construction. So, and then we also are needing to get a variance in regards to a city ordinance as far as the outside appearance of the portables, and there will be a planning commission meeting that I'm going to attend on Wednesday, and then hopefully we'll get approval there, and then that will move forward to the city council on next Tuesday, the 24th, for their approval. So, but things are moving forward.
Discussion items. This will be our first reading of policies 706 through 708. Moving on to our action items. We're going to move to close the meeting. We're going to read this now. Okay. The next item on agenda is a review of pending litigation. In order to consider this litigation, the school board must meet with its attorney in a confidential setting to obtain advice regarding pending litigation. It would be detrimental to the interests of the school district to hold a public discussion with its attorney regarding its legal position and strategy. The matter to be discussed related to HJV versus Independent School District number 413. The specific subjects to be discussed pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.01 Subdivision 3 are the school district's legal positions, defenses and strategies with respect to the pending litigation pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13D.05, subdivision 3B, and the attorney-client privilege. I will entertain a motion that the meeting now be closed for the purpose stated. Sounds like a lawyer wrote that.
No, I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Meeting's now closed. We need approval to open the meeting.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Let's vote. Meeting's open. We have an action item, approval of records retention schedule.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Is approved.
She.
Approval of the Marshall Community Service Advisory Board Representative. Jennifer Andrews. Motion.
Oh, you already did that second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Is approved. Approval of our 2015 audit results. Motion to approve. Do we have a second? I'll second. Any discussion?
I really don't have anything further to add based on the presentation here a while ago, other than if someone would in fact like a hardbound copy, we can certainly provide that for you.
Thank you, Bruce. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion approved. Approval of the 2014-15 World's Best Workforce Report. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Is approved. Anything else from the cause? Meeting's over. Thank you.